Okay, so I'm just gonna go through the introduction to C Sharp. Basically, what C Sharp is just a simple and powerful object-oriented programming language. Okay, or you can call it OOP. Um, I think I will explain object-oriented programming a little bit later on. But in a nutshell, it's just a way that you avoid repeating yourself. Okay, so like you have a chunk of code, and then maybe you want to reuse that code all over and over again. Okay, so instead of copying and paste the code every time you want to use it, then you can just create a template. It's all about template. You create a template and then you can reuse the code. Okay, so C Sharp can be actually used to create different types of applications, like web applications, Windows applications, console applications. Okay, our example are going to be on console, unfortunately, but that's because we're starting. Don't worry, we're gonna get into web applications. So and any other types of application through Visual Studio. Okay, now we're just gonna do, like I explained before, we're just gonna do the essentials that can help you to understand C Sharp, from basic topics to a little bit of advanced topics like object-oriented programming, um, classes, methods, and all of those things. Um, all right, so now the first thing that we're gonna start with in this tutorial or lessons, we need to understand the basic building block of the console application. Like I said, we're going to use the console application because now the thing is, C Sharp can be Windows based or web based or a console application as well. Okay, so I've got Visual Studio 2019 here. So I'm going to go ahead and create the first project. Just going to go back here. So you see here, I've got all the recent projects that I've created. It's going to be listed here. If it's for the first time, then you're not going to have anything here. Yeah. And we're going to go and say create a project. Okay, you can also open existing project, but for now we're creating a new project. Okay, so we need to choose what type of project this is. So it's going to be a console application. So if we go, we can filter, because you might have a long list here. The thing is, I've used it so many times, and so my list is kind of shorter. So you might have a very long list here, and then you don't know where to go. So you need to filter. So the language, you can filter by language, which is C Sharp, and the platform is Windows. So you've got all the platforms: iOS, Mac OS, Linux, Xbox. Because you can create games on C Sharp with C Sharp and Unity. So we're gonna go with Windows, and the project type is gonna be console. Okay, so these are all the project types that you can do. You can do UWP, web, machine learning if you are more into AI and all of those things, IoT, Internet of Things. You can also do your own extensions. You can do desktop. In desktop, we come with the web form. Forms. Okay, but for now we're gonna go with console. And so there's console .NET Core, and there's console.NET Framework. So we're going with .NET Framework, and then we're gonna click next. And you can just give it a name. I'm just gonna call it my first program or something. So with names as well, make sure that you don't have spaces. Like you can't type a project like this, okay, with like a space. Rather use an underscore maybe, or use a camel casing like I did here. Okay, and the location where is this gonna be stored? Right now is stored by default. It's gonna be stored if you're using 2019. There's a folder called repos, repositories. So you can see the file path there where exactly it is. You can always change it, maybe put it in your documents or something like that. And the .NET framework that you want to use. So I'm using the latest 4.7.2. You can always, if you want this to, of course, be what's the word? Be compatible with the old versions of Windows, maybe XP. No one uses XP. I'm just making an example. Okay, maybe there are people using XP. You never know. And then you can just go down with the framework a little bit. Okay, so since I'm in Windows 10, I'm going with the latest because most of the people are in Windows 10 anyway. And we can just go ahead and create. So now this is gonna scaffold your project. All right. Now we do have a class, okay, that is being created default by C# called program.cs. So every console application starts with the main method. So this is a main method of the program, okay. So now let me just quickly explain this structure that we're seeing here. So we've got here all of these are references of the .NET framework namespaces, meaning these are classes or class libraries that comes with .NET framework. Okay, you'll see we already have linked here the one that we're going to look at, so meaning we're going to use that link a little bit later on. Now this is a namespace name, normally just takes the name of your project. Like if you call it maybe money app or something like that, then it's gonna be money app. Okay, so this is the name of your project. And then we've got the class called program, so this is the class name, and then within the class we've got a method, a main method, and then so this method can take string arguments. Okay, it can take string arguments as well. You see, so by default, it can take string arguments. These square brackets just entails that it can be an array. It can be an array of strings. Okay. Now, if maybe I want to type something, I'm gonna say have a variable there. So okay, I'm gonna explain the variable now, and I can say welcome to C#. Okay, so now this is a value variable, this is a data type, and then this is a variable. A variable is anything that can store data. Okay, and this is a value of variable. This is an assignment operator, so I'm assigning a value to the variable. So this squishy line, this green squishy line, it just means that this variable is not used. It's not used. If there's an error, it's gonna give you like maybe I do something like this, then it's gonna give you a red squishy line. So it means that you've got an error there. You don't know what you're doing. Okay, and so that is, now I can have a method, another method, a built-in method called console. Actually, it's a built-in class called console, and then in the class I can access its method by putting a period like this, and there's a method called write line. I just want to write, what do I want to write? I want to write the variable called message. So this is a method just to display the value on the console. So we can compile this by clicking on start, or you can just hold. So with compilation, if you click the let me see, actually on debug, you must make sure that you debug. Okay, maybe they, let me see, build, is it on build? Yeah, it's on debug. So you must make sure that you debug, or you start, or you compile without debugging. so that's gonna be a little bit quicker. And because sometimes when you start with debugging, I don't know why it happens, it just opens the program and then it shuts down. Okay, so you normally start without debugging. So there's a shortcut which is Control F5, and it should pop in somewhere in my screen. There we go, and then we can see the message there, welcome to C#. Okay, don't worry, we're not going to be building trees or anything like that. I'm just going to introduce you to the program itself. So now, one thing that you must understand about this structure: every .NET framework or application, it takes the reference of the necessary .NET framework namespaces that is planning to use. Okay, so you see right now, other references are grayed out, meaning they are not used. Only system is actually used. You see, it's like it has a different color. It has a lighter color because console belongs to system. You see, so meaning system. I can remove this. Let me show you. And then console is unknown, but I can always say system dot console. I can always do that. You see, but I think the better way will be to import your namespaces here. The one that you want to use, because you don't want to write a long code, because you get that others is like a tree. So you system dot something dot something dot something. So rather use the namespace. You can just say using system, using system. Okay, and just close that. Okay, so I can just use console without using it, without the system. Okay, so another thing, you must close your script by semicolon, because if I do not close it, then I've got an error already. So it's important that you must close. You see, when we're doing SQL, we did not close sometimes we close, because SQL doesn't mind, unless of course you're going to do another statement. So C# does mind that you have to close. Okay, there's no other statement beneath that one, but you have to close it. Okay, so now another thing, you have to declare the namespaces of a current class using the namespace keyword. Okay, like here. Okay, so you have, but normally Visual Studio does that for you, so it's not something that you can worry about, but it's important that you know that. And then you have to declare a class using class keyword program. So I can create another class here. Maybe I can create a class, no class, and I can say student, and then I can do something there, okay, in the class.